Let's talk politics, and Liberal Warringah candidate Katherine Deves has avoided scrutiny for the second time in a week, refusing to enter a Politics at the Pub event in northern Sydney until all media had been evicted from the venue. Ms Deves was due to speak with Jason Falinski, the Liberal member for the neighbouring seat of Mackellar. She spoke briefly to media outside the venue, saying she has fought for women and children and is now fighting for Warringah, but refused to take any questions. Warringah Independent MP Zali Steggall criticised the closed-door forum, saying candidates opening themselves to public scrutiny is one of the most important elements of representing the community. Well, with that, timing is everything. Let's talk politics. We are joined by Matt Thistlethwaite, of course, and that man himself, the member from Mackellar.
Here I am.
Jason Falinski.
Give us the inside gossip.
Oh, well, you were there. You were there at the pub. But seriously,
I had a lemon, lime and bitters on it. Yeah.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Why would you do that for? You're already a controversial individual because of the comments that you've made. You're a Liberal candidate. Why would you poke the media bear?
I know it's never poke a bear, as they say. But look, it was an open forum. People from the public were allowed in. Frankly, the Climate 200 independents, including Zali Steggall, had people inside the room. Katherine Deves spoke for a table of them for about 45 minutes. I think she felt that it could turn into a bit of a Barney if the media are in there and people were trying to create stunts. And let's be upfront, we had a gentleman evicted from the venue who is a Sophie Scomp's volunteer. He arrived in a car with Sophie Scomp's wrap over his car. He hit someone. The venue asked him, Forestville RSL asked him to leave the venue. So everyone needs to take a step back on this. Katherine Deves has put herself open to scrutiny. People need to actually respect the fact that in this country, we can disagree with each other without being disagreeable.
But doesn't that make it even more important to have the media there if you're going to see this kind of activity at a function like this?
I think it does. I think the great shame about this is that there would have been local media there, and those local media outlets are reporting to the members of that community about what goes on at that forum, so that members of the community can make informed decisions about who they want to represent them. And to lock the local media out before the event even starts and avoid that scrutiny, I think is inexcusable. And in my view, it says that you're not worthy of representing that local community if you're not willing to stand up to the scrutiny of that local community through the local media.
Is Katherine Deves a massive liability for you guys?
Absolutely not. Katherine Deves is taking the ball up in Warringah. She's out there meeting people. She put herself in front of a whole bunch of the community last night, including, I add, volunteer campaign workers for Zali Steggall and the other Climate 200 independent in the area, one of whom decided that violence was the answer, out in front of the media. And I've got to ask you this question, Tim. The media saw that gentleman, saw one of their campaign workers throw a punch. Why isn't that the front page story today?
What do you think?
Well, I can't explain why it's not, but I know that you can't not allow the media into an event like that that's an open forum. And the reporting today is that the Liberal Party and Katherine Deves made a decision that they weren't going to allow the media to come into the forum to report on it, and that she would do a photo op on the way in and then they would close the doors. That's not good enough if you're seeking to be a representative for a community and to be a member in the Australian Parliament. The media are all over everything that we do as members of Parliament. If you want to be a member of Parliament, you've got to hold yourself up to the scrutiny of the media, and that didn't occur.
Yeah, and no one condones violence, of course, but we are 4 weeks away from today from an election. Oh. So if you are a candidate...
Thank God, only 4 weeks.
I know that you're fully okay with that, but if you are a candidate, you can't say no to the media. I just think, it was a massive step in the puddle.
Okay, fair enough.
You don't do that.
But at the same time, there are plenty of candidates from all sides who don't subject themselves to media scrutiny. Zali Steggall does not go on Channel 9, for example, does not go on a whole bunch of other, does not subject herself to, interviews from a whole bunch of people.
But she's not holding functions and sort of blocking people out.
But we didn't block people out. People were allowed to come into the function, including campaign workers from the Steggall campaign were in the room.
All right, let's not get caught up too much in this, but it was a big story last night, of course, and it's going to continue to get traction throughout the course of the day. Albo's got COVID. Look, that is...
It was going to happen.
What a wild 2 weeks we've seen. We've got the gotcha questions, there's so much going on. How is he? Most important.
Yeah, well, I saw him yesterday on the Zoom call.
No, on Zoom, okay.
No, I haven't got it. I've had it in the past, but haven't got it. Albo did media appearances yesterday via Zoom. He's continuing to do his job. We wish him all the best and hope that he recovers as quickly as possible. He's following the health advice and he'll be isolating at home for the next 7 days, but continuing to do media appearances. And in the meantime, it's an opportunity for Labor to highlight the talent and the depth that we have on our front bench. And you've got our 2 fantastic campaign spokespeople in Katie Gallagher and Jason Clare, as well as Richard Marles and the whole front bench team. They'll be out there putting the case for Labor's policies and why it'll be a better future under a Labor government.
Should we see more of your guys out in front?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Scott Morrison, well, there is a little bit of, too much of Scott is too much.
Tim, I think the point that you're making... Well, firstly, can I start off by saying I think I misspoke. Zali Steggall has done interviews on Channel 9, so I apologise for that. Secondly, I think... I hope Albo recovers very quickly and I hope he gets a very mild dose of it. Thirdly, you're absolutely right. This sort of presidential style of campaigns we have in the Westminster system completely diminishes what we do in Australian politics. Australian politics is a team game. The focus on the leaders, I think, is actually unhelpful for the way that we actually govern our country. So I think it's a good thing that people are getting to see Jason Clare, Penny Wong, Tony Burke, and I think it would be a good thing if they got to see more of Josh Frydenberg, more of Peter Dutton, more of Simon Birmingham, more of Maurice Payne. These would be good things so people understand it's a team.
We've got Josh Frydenberg coming up on the program in the next hour. Independents targeting moderates like you. It's a new thing. What do you make of this new world of politics?
Look, I think it's a really dangerous thing that we're doing at the moment because what Simon Holmes à Court is doing is he thinks that elections in Australia are like a corporate takeover. He is attempting to take over the parliament with money. He treats Australians as though their vote is for sale and can be bought. And what we're finding is people who have had no involvement in politics up until today, having millions of dollars spent to promote them and their name. They come with no ideas, with no plans, with no visions. Just look how much money we've got.
What do you think?
Well, I think the great thing about Australian democracy is that anyone can stand for Parliament under our Constitution, and that's a good thing. And we need to be conscious of the fact that many of these independents are doing this because they're principally worried about Australia's future and the lack of action on climate change from this government. That's one of their key platforms. And I think that Australians are sick and tired of the lack of action from this government, the fact that emissions have been increasing once again, that we're an international pariah when it comes to action on climate change, and many in the community have responded, and that's why you're getting these independents running around that issue.
Said beautifully by a man who is in a safely Labor.
Yeah, but once again, what Matt just said is not true. Our emissions have reduced by 21% on 2005 levels. So these campaigns are based on lies. And it needs to stop. It does not help in a democratic nation to have people being lied to and having elections decided on the basis of facts that are not true.
Jason does make a point.
It's widely accepted that Australia is not pulling its weight when it comes to
no, it's not widely
action
accepted,
on climate change.
Well, Matt...
it's a fact that emissions have been increasing again under this government.
That is untrue.
You seek to exclude LNG from those figures.
Matt, let me ask you a simple question.
Angus Taylor does.
No, he doesn't.
Emissions have been increasing.
Matt,
we haven't had.
No one will understand what we're talking about if we talk over the top of each other. You're allowed your question. You're allowed your answer. Your interjection, answer, and then we've probably got to wrap it up.
Fair enough.
You ask, what are you trying to interject with?
Well, Matt, our emissions, how much lower are our emissions on 2005 levels, which is the Paris Agreement?
Emissions have been increasing since you
so
came.
let me answer your
since
question.
you came to
21%. No, they've gone down.
Since you came to government,
they've gone down.
They were decreasing under us, and they've gone up once
that's
again.
not true.
And there's been this lack of action
true.
and consistent approach to climate change.
It's not
you
true.
You tried to get rid of the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. You tried to get
We've
rid of
just
the
given it more
Australian
money. We gave it $1.8 billion more
Australian
2
Renewable
years
Energy
ago.
Agency, and that's why
No, we
people
didn't.
are upset. And that's why.
No, they're
you've got
upset
independent
because you guys
seeking to
keep
run.
telling them lies. Lies like emissions have gone up, when in fact they've gone down 21%. Our projected reduction in emissions to 2030 has gone from 28% to 35%, and we've signed a net zero agreement by 2050. We've signed up to COP26. Under this government, there has been a lot of action on climate change, and I don't understand how we can be a pariah in the world when we have reduced our emissions by 21% while they've gone up in Canada, only reduced by 1% in New Zealand, and the story goes on and on.
Your Prime Minister bought a lump of coal into the Parliament and said that electric vehicles would destroy the weekend. If you want a reason of why people are running and they're upset about climate change,
and the dinosaurs
that's the reason.
died and created petroleum.
The siren's gone. We're going to agree to disagree on this one.
No, facts are not things that you can disagree with. The facts are
your facts are different to his facts.
No, Tim, there are just
we will have
facts.
to continue. We'll allow the media into the coffee room, all right?
Oh, fair enough.
You can have this debate in there, all right?
Fair enough.
It's a very important weekend in
is.
our calendar, of course, Anzac Day on Monday.
And I'm attending a number of dawn services. I want to point out that this year's the 80th anniversary of the formation of the Maroubra Force, which did a fantastic job in defending Australia on the Kokoda Trail. The 39th Infantry Division, it was a militia force. They were relatively unprepared and undertrained. They didn't have the right equipment. But of the 800 that defended Australia on the Kokoda track, only 30 survived. And I pay tribute to them and the sacrifice that they made to our nation this weekend.
This is where we're all together.
We are. Look, the reason that we have a free and fair nation is because of the sacrifice and service of so many million people who came before us, and we honour that today so that we remember their sacrifice and continue to realise that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll agree on that. We'll leave it there, and we'll be back on next week with 3 weeks to go.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.